just gonna record this. There you go. Now you know it's there. So I'll go ahead and get things kicked off. You want to say your name just so it's on record there?
Yeah, Victor Rivera
I'm
here
just
with Group 2.
group two, unquote. And this is Dimitri Pink, and it looks like this might be our group tonight. I think the other guys were going to skip this one, and we'll connect again on the fourth one. Let's see. So our prompt today was to look at the three mental disciplines, which is the writers, the economist, and the architect, and connect them to the groove, which is the discipline and the process of finding rhythm and consistent execution. And the way I understand it is the groove is about consistency over like big things. For example, like it's better to do 30-minute sessions every other day than try to go in and do like 8 hours straight at a gym, right?
Yeah.
Or, so the groove compounds over time. And are you familiar with compound interest? I forgot what you said your major was, Victor.
Technological entrepreneurship, technological management. So the Tim major.
Okay, cool. So are you familiar with compound interest and that kind of stuff, or is that new or
I'm familiar with it somewhat. I'm not an expert by any means, but over the years, just the only experience I have with that is investing, like certificates and also loans, car loans, mortgages. I
you look
understand how
you
that.
look fit, like you make it to the gym pretty regularly, or you're at least active lifestyle, right?
I'm pretty active. Yeah, I run. I'm previous Navy sailor in the submarine force.
All
So
right, but former Army veteran as well, so
yeah.
right on. Yeah, cool, cool. So let's see. I'm just going to kind of throw some things out, and I tend to just talk. So whenever you want to get a word in edgewise, please just jump in. One way I think about the groove is by like Atomic Habits by James Clear. Are you familiar with that book?
I'm familiar with it, but I have not read it.
Super great book for this topic. It talks about just putting like 1% effort over time. So each day you're putting in the effort, small habits that are repeated consistently and back to compounding into meaningful change over time. And that was written in 2018. If you want the citation, yada, yada. I'm trying to be more professional in my academic career to start doing citations and stuff. And he also emphasized that goals set the direction, but the systems and routines are what actually carry you forward. So you don't rise. This is my favorite quote, and I wrote it down here. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. I'll say that one more time just because I think it bears repeating. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. That basically what Joe is calling the groove, our teacher is calling the groove. Consistency before intensity and systems before outcomes. I'll let you go for a little bit, just whatever's on the top of your head or whatever remarks you thought about.
Yeah, I can relate to that interpretation, and that's kind of what I picked up from Dr. Cho as well. As far as the groove is concerned, my take is uh, developing like just the mental fortitude to get through the system or processes that you have, in place to accomplish the goals, because not every day they're going to work out. Not every day you're going to feel that you've accomplished your goal, but you still have to trust it and keep going. And I think that's just, finding the groove is, I think they're relating it to business the same way anyone else finding the groove in a sport or a hobby or anything else in life. So I was kind of relating it to, like a baseball player, like a pitcher finding his groove, and he's you know, you don't give up just because you made a bad pitch. You don't give up just because you gave up a home run, a game-winning home run or whatever. You still trust your, like, yeah, like you're saying, trust your systems. Go out there and train and prepare for the next game and get out there and do it again. So I mean, I just I grew up playing sports, so like taking these the concepts that they're teaching of the groove and whatnot. It's kind of how I relate to it. And it's like you're gonna, and they refer to failing a lot, and you're gonna fail, but you gotta find something to get you going. And I really like the the equation that they use, the source of loss equation, where it relates drive times emotion, and then IQ times emotion. So like the products of those two are then multiplied together for your output. And I think that has a lot to do with your groove too, and from an emotional state, right? Um, Again, just relating it back to sports. Like if you're not feeling well, like you don't have the right stuff, then it doesn't matter how much drive or how smart you are at the game, you're not gonna
Perform.
those products are gonna be a lot lower, and then your overall output's gonna be a lot lower. So that kind of makes sense in a way, applying it to business, entrepreneurship and technological mindset. It's it's very relatable.
I like that. Those are all great points. I appreciate that you went back to your sports. I want to, back if we go back to your military training. I mean,
Oh yeah, for sure.
that's a major thing. We practice operations over and over and over again, so that we can we can go out and perform. It's almost automatic. So the groove is, I think, possibly practice based, and how you practice matters. I just took up golf since I moved out to Arizona, and I am not like I hit some shots that they go where I want them to go and they go how I want them to go there. But for the most part, I'm just chasing balls around. This is it's incredibly nuanced sport with minor adjustments that need to be made over and over again with your stance, with the clubs, with your your hands, with your eyeball contact, with how far you're aiming out in the distance, with on and on and on, wind, so all these things fit into figuring out, well, what's my system now for studying those things? How many hours I got in a day? Well, and what kind of a priority is taking on a new thing like golf. So I've justified it for me to have it be, it's my exercise for now to stay fit and out there and moving around. I'm going to shoot back to, have you heard of another author called Ray Dalio?
No, I was no, I have not.
No
But
worries. So Ray Dalio's he wrote a book called Principles, and the reason that I bring him up is because he's got a system in it for operations because he has principles and values. And as a military guy, we have, for me, I had Army values. You're going to have your values as well. But those values and principles allow you to move more fluid than people that don't. Because when a challenge comes to you, you've already got a system in play that you know how you're going to proceed and move, right? Can you
yeah, I
think?
agree.
Okay, so like in some people, and I'm not super religious, but some people like for them, their first 10 might be the Ten Commandments. They're like, thou shalt not do this, we won't do this, we don't want to do this, or if this, then that, if you think in coding language. So systems can be expedient or help you move faster and be more productive. What else would I wanted to say about Dalio? I had something else written down. I don't want to forget it. Just one second. I got to read this. Yeah. So repeated decisions rather than reacting emotionally each time something happens. So he describes a loop where you set your goals, you encounter the problem, you diagnose the root causes, design a plan, and then push through the plan through to results. And then you keep running the 5-step process over and over on a loop. And it's like kind of a adapt and overcome would be a military reference that we would use since we're both guys that have been in there. So for me, these ideas line up with the three disciplines. The writer's discipline is where I write down my principles, decision criteria, and lessons learned, exactly like Dalio suggests, and document how I made decisions so I can improve them. Because I'm very much an architect. I don't know which of the three that you identify the most, but I'm very much an architect. I'm constantly looking at how can I make a system for this so I don't have to keep making the same mistake over and over and over.
Um, yeah, it's kind of hard to say. I mean, I feel just piggybacking off the definitions. It's like probably more like a writer's mindset, having to document everything and then go back and reassess and then move forward.
So
Um,
you write as that thinking tool then. So you
yeah,
use writing to
I
think.
yeah, over the years I found myself like jotting down the list of priorities or items I have to accomplish, and then going back and prioritizing them, similar to I think it was the Eisenhower method that we were reviewing in a past module.
Yeah, let me make a note of
Uh,
that. I'm gonna have to go back and review that because my short term just doesn't remember that. Got it. I'll go check that out. Thanks for reminding me.
but um, but yeah, that's probably where I lean towards the most as far as
Cool.
processing. I mean, yeah, and then I think there's good traits from all three that are identified. I mean, I guess that the idea is to incorporate all of them eventually in in systems and
In your wheelhouse. So
yeah.
I'm going to go back to the economist discipline, and then I'm going to do the architect or the
Okay.
architect. I'm going to go through those real quick, and maybe that'll help solidify something will trigger some more, so we keep this dialogue going. I appreciate what you
Okay.
bring into it. I'm so glad that you tuned into this one, man. We missed your
Yeah.
other two, and we're
Yeah.
just like, man, I know Victor's got stuff because you initially, I got to give credit to you, were the guy that was just like, hey, let's get everybody involved, get set up. So kudos to you. Sorry
I,
we
I
we didn't get there.
I was. I guess we can after we talk, we could discuss that after we get through the
Sure.
majority of the stuff. But yeah,
Gotcha.
I appreciate it.
The economist discipline shows us it focuses on trade-offs, so expected value and long-term payoff instead of getting hijacked by short-term emotions. The architect's discipline is about turning those principles and habits into systems, repeatable machines that run the same way, whenever similar problems show up. So between atomic habits and Dalio's principles and Cho's groove, the common thread for me is to build clear principles and systems, apply them consistently to problems, and let the rhythm carry you instead of relying on willpower or one-off heroic efforts. If you rely on willpower, any day that you're going to have a day where the weather is wrong or the kids are acting up or da da da, willpower you can't you can't run on just willpower. So that's why these systems are so important. So I'll walk through the disciplines a little bit, how I see each discipline, which ones I'm already doing well, where I need to grow, and how all these tie into my projects. Like I have a business that we'll explore in the fourth discussion called Crap Wizards. We make shit disappear. It's a dog waste removal that I started. I've been here 1 month and I've already got a business going and a client, so that's a big deal. It's pretty cool.
All right.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Right on. And I've been working on a finance web app development and some other things. And I don't program. I'm not an app developer, but I'm making one utilizing AI. So that's pretty exciting to have. You know,
Okay.
you make a thing work for you instead of you doing all the work all the time, which is another
Right.
thing I think systems are pretty awesome about. Like learning how to automate things is a system skill. Again, at any time you want to jump in, go ahead. I'm just running through my notes that I wrote down for the
Okay.
discussion. Um, Defining the three disciplines. Okay, for this class, here's how I interpret the three disciplines. The writer's discipline is about turning messy thoughts into clear words. It's using writing as a thinking tool, which is what you mentioned was your strength. Explaining ideas simply in my own words, documenting decisions and experiments, telling the story of what I'm building day by day. When this discipline is strong, I'm not just reacting, I'm reflecting and converting experience into learning. So I think I'll stop right there. I have the other two, but I'll let you, since writing was your strength, I might let you jump into that one if you want to.
Yeah. Yeah, I like how you broke that down because then that definitely kind of makes it a little more clear why I lean towards that because yeah, my background is the military and operating submarines, and now I'm in the power generating industry with Dominion Energy. So I work at a nuclear power plant, and so right there's like thousands upon thousands of procedures and uh,
SOP, standard operating.
regulatory,
Yeah.
yeah, SOPs and technical specifications that, you know, some are better than others at knowing everything, but I'm certainly not that way. I have to um, professionally dumb it down for myself, and so that I can excel at it. And that's, I think that's where I was. That's mainly why I say I like write things down, because I have to paraphrase, or I don't make acronyms like most people do, or um, but uh, but I'll have to write it down and then see it how I interpret it so that I can recall it later. So like that's why it's like a writer's discipline. It's like a almost like poetry, or like sonnets and rhythm and iambic pentameters and whatnot. Like, like I have to find a rhythm to the information so that I can recall it.
Wait a minute.
And
You have to find a groove.
yeah, I have to find the groove. So that's great that that naturally just kind of came out.
Well done, sir. Well done.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I agree with writer's discipline. Yeah, you're gonna lean towards telling a story, whether it's to,
Hmm.
yourself to get in the groove, or you know to someone else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
storytelling, that's a big one from the earlier lessons. I didn't realize like how much I use that on a daily basis. Anytime I'm talking to somebody for just about anything you can think of, there's always a story involved. I caught myself like just little things. People start telling these elaborate things, and I'm kind of high signal sometimes. I don't need to hear your story. Just get to the meat and potatoes. And I have to cut them off sometimes. And I feel like, oh, well, maybe I'm missing out on letting them get their writer's brain out. But
Mhm.
that's just a personal thing. I'm trying to work on being more, I don't know, more efficient at letting people's egos thrive while I try to be going and moving.
Yeah, I responded early to that, to like what I want to improve, and I wanted to get better at getting to what do we call it, the trigger, like the triggering events in the story to get to the point, because I do have a history, of losing, subordinates and tasks that I'm responsible to get done, and I have to get them to do it, and then they're like, they're done. They're like, what are you telling me to do? I'm like trying to go and tell a story of why, and so
Ooh, ooh. Are you are
it's
you
interesting. It's interesting.
are you a
What's the
visual
question?
guy at all? Do you do
Oh yeah,
drawings or little drawings or anything? Have you tried that, like visual aid with your dudes?
yeah. I'm visual. I've done many things. I'm a lot better than I'm saying. I just know over time that's been something I've identified, and just know that that's when you have people that work for you, you just need to tell them what you need, and have them tell you how they're going to do it, and say
Yes or no?
you're not breaking any rules, and we're going to get it done safely. Let's go. And if there's any questions from the command, then you go talk to them on their behalf, and don't steal all the credit from them either.
I think, yeah,
You know
that's
what I
a good
mean?
management style that you got there. Like, here's the problem. I trust you to solve it. If you can't, just go come back and communicate that you're getting stuck, where you're getting stuck, and try to bring to me why you're getting stuck and have a solution. That way we can figure it out. Because a lot of times people are just like, I'm stuck. They don't even think past the process of trying to figure it out. And I'm wondering
Yeah.
how do you, or how would you instruct, like after having this class, or maybe just reading this chapter, maybe it's still too fresh. It's pretty fresh for me. Uh, how would you take the systems here that you're learning here, or how would you create systems to then put them into your work so that it can make your life easier because you're communicating in a way that allows them to bridge that gap.
Um, well, recently reading chapters 3 and 4 and try to bring that into the groove of the bet thinking and bets. I really took a lot from the how is it described? It's described as skill is developed from uh, your experiences and what you do with your experiences builds your skill, right? Just having experience doesn't necessarily mean you have more skill. And
Yeah.
so I've recently, after reading that, I mean, I'm going to work now and just thinking about it and just the day-to-day interactions at meetings, how I respond, how people respond, or what uh, the day is bringing. What am I taking away from that experience to build my skill at communicating with people problems that we are solving and just more mindfully aware of that's gonna build my skill at work, at my workplace.
Right
And
on.
I kind of, haven't, there's no real way to like uh, quantify it, but like it's just something that I took away from, okay, if I can use the experience effectively, then I'm building my skill. I know I am. And so like I can tie that into like finding a groove that way. Like, okay, I feel like I'm staying out of the emotionally wrecked zone of not getting anything done, but I'm in the high energy. Okay, at least I'm learning something. I'm building my skills to do it better tomorrow and staying in that higher emotional zone so that, because you know, think anyone, well, anyone, if you have a job anywhere, you should give yourself credit that you're smart enough to have the job. So you have the IQ and then you have the job because you have the drive to do it. So like staying in that emotional high as high emotionally as you can will eventually you'll maximize your potential, right? And so
Okay, I
and
want
then
to
your output.
go back to one thing really quick. Since you're a writer and you identify with that, do you journal? Do you keep track of like the skills so that you can measure it and show over time how are you improving the skill? Um,
Uh
or
not not reg
would that be of
not
interest?
reg not regularly, despite being more of a writer. I have a what we call the pocket brain, little memo pads.
Yeah, yeah.
That I guess in that in a sense is kind of like journaling, right? Because write down, okay, today these were the things we did, and then at the beginning of the day, I'll write the task down, and I'll keep that, and then be able to reflect on uh, things that I picked up as far as keywords, tricky phrases. I write down things that leadership say, right, to try to inline myself with what the goals are, right? Because it's not all the time that like leadership says what the priorities are or what the goals are. Right? A company might have like 1,000-foot level view goals, but like from a day-to-day, week-to-week basis, what are we trying to do, kind of thing. And so um, I write stuff like that down. I wouldn't
Good.
say not necessarily journal, but like I'll write stuff like that, and then try to keep in line. So I'm pretty, it's like a team player mindset. Just like where's everyone at? Where are my leaders at? Or where's everyone else at? And so like I'll write stuff down like that to kind of okay, this is
All right, I'm tracking.
yeah,
If you want, because we got 10 minutes of the stuff that we got to do to get that 30 minutes in. And I just want to be respectful of your time because I know that, it's late out there. So if
yeah,
I'll just go through 2 and 3 real quick, and then we can talk a little bit more about that. And then I was going to talk about my strongest for me that was the architect's discipline. And
okay,
My second strength is the economist discipline. My weakest is actually your strength. We probably partner pretty good on stuff. All right. So back to the economist discipline. The economist discipline is thinking in trade-offs, incentives, and leverage. So it asks, if I spend 1 hour here, what am I not doing? Which is an interesting way to kind of look at the day. Um, it's like opportunity costs, right? Which activities give me the highest return? Money, learning, freedom, or mental health? Which small habit, if repeated or daily, would compound the most over months or years? And what I and what we can bring that back to the skill that you were talking about. Like which skill that I work on the most will give me the biggest return. So that's thinking in an economist discipline.
Mm.
In architect, excuse me, an architect's discipline is about designing systems instead of one-off actions. It asks the question, what structure will still work on my low motivation days? How do school, work, health, and projects fit together into one coherent system? What can I standardize so I don't have to reinvent everything every morning? So with the architect, I don't just ask, what do I do today, but what system will carry me this semester or the year or all the way through graduation, keep my business going, you know, when I'm not so much an integral part of it. Like, how do I set these systems up so I can go live in Thailand and I've got multiple businesses and income streams here? And then my strongest act, my strongest skill set would be the architect discipline. That's because I've had to juggle a lot of things at once, being a student, running or testing small businesses, managing mental and physical health. I'm turning 49, or I'm 49, I'm turning 50 coming up pretty soon. So there's some different things going on with my body that I have to deal with before. And then trying to build long-term financial and lifestyle freedom. So because of that, I pushed into thinking like an architect. I need more structure because of all the chaos that's happening. So crap wizards, which I told you we'll do a discussion for, I'll talk about that more. I'm thinking about how to start a business and how to run the business. What's my daily routine that's consistent? Same neighborhoods, efficient sequences, predictable time windows, weekly customer check-ins, a rhythm of communication, not just responding when something breaks. Monthly route expansion planning, deciding which areas are profitable. Scottsdale, I'm looking at that. Like I said, I'm new here, so I'm like, show me the money? Where's the money at? And Gilbert's supposed to be retirement community. So some of the places to start right there. Monthly route expansion planning, deciding which areas are profitable, where to add customers, and when to increase capacity. I'm gonna stop right there because I got plenty. I was prepared to do the whole thing by myself if I needed to. So I'm gonna let you jump in with whatever you want, and you can end the session whenever you want to, and we can have a little conversation before we get off. But I just want to say thanks for showing up tonight.
Yeah, I appreciate it for you supporting my or our discussion tonight as well. Yeah, that's pretty awesome to hear about your business and your entrepreneurship that you are pursuing. Um, yeah, I really do like the concepts in this course, but right now I haven't really applied anything outside on my own. Like I spent 20 years in the Navy and then didn't spend a whole lot of time. I got a job lined up and I started a week after I was retired. Then that happened this last December. And so been utilizing a lot of the um, information from this course and the other courses in my major to kind of just fit into the business, uh, civilian business, um, in technology, right? I got a job at a nuclear power plant, and it's very similar to what I was doing in the Navy. I was a nuclear machinist mate, so I worked with um, nuclear power and propulsion systems. And then so at the power plant, it's nuclear power, nope, no propulsion systems. It's all just generating electrical power and sending out to the grid. So I'm learning a lot more on the business side as far as, you know, the money making or like how much energy cost and the difference in priorities as far as uh, why a reactor needs to be critical in making heat. It's not the same as the submarine it has to produce heat and steam to turn the propulsion turbines. It's I don't know. I don't want to say it's like higher stakes because kind of I don't think it's definitely high stakes to be out at sea on a submarine that's powered by nuclear power to keep the reactor running because you're underwater in the middle of nowhere. But I feel like providing power to millions of people, it's pretty high stakes. But learning the business part, um, so that I do have right now a hobby of creating music, recording it, and producing it out of my basement. I think I'm interested in applying the skills to just produce music, but not at a large scale. More like, hey, I can provide a product for you in a studio to come in and record something, and I can, rearrange it and put it out to SoundCloud or Spotify, or help do that for whatever artist is aspiring for that assistance. That's just my kind of like my dream right now because I play the guitar and I just like to record my own stuff and that's for that. But we'll see. A lot of what you are describing happened to architect. I feel like I can relate to that with because my wife's a dog sitter, and so she has to think about a lot of things that you pointed out. Now that I see it, and then you were describing it, it's interesting. So it's great that you were able to share that because I think I can maybe understand her day to day a little bit more better.
Well, two things. One, I play guitar, dude. So if you ever want to jam, I've never done the Zoom jam, so that there's not too much of a delay. I thought the latency would be pretty bad, but when you talk, your lips move, and it's not like later I see it. So it's maybe
Okay,
we'll probably jam out sometime if you want. And then for recording some stuff, that'd be cool.
yeah, that'd be fun.
Yep, yep. We have officially got our 30 minutes in. So, is there anything in the class that you want to catch up on going back? If there's anything that you're missing some stuff, because I know that you're really getting the class started. You were like right there, but I don't know what happened in between
Yeah,
there and
yeah, yeah. It's just interesting. We're talking about just finding a groove, and Dr. Cho was talking about having to push through stuff, and I was like, I think I just needed to push through it, and it took, unfortunately, two discussions to figure it out because I was just having I was struggling with just the time and stuff. So it's not it's just all on me, but uh, not really. I mean, I know you're not. I'm good on the. I'm up to speed on the diaries and then the assignments and such. I tell you what, not discuss any questions or anything, but I was blindsided by the first quiz. I lost track that it was 15 minutes, and I was like going through it, and I was like, oh, it told me my
yeah,
time was.
they threw that one out, right? That one doesn't even count. I got like a
I,
6 out of 10. That was my worst.
yeah, I got a two.
Yeah, I didn't do that well. I got like 60% on that one. That's the worst grade that I got so far in this class. But it was
Yeah.
an eye opener right away because I don't know. Sometimes like the information is really pretty intense, man. I thought some of the questions were like for the cook of the meal. Like there was a lot going on there.
Oh, yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, so I think luckily for me, I just applied, I just envisioned everything a work item or a task that I got in the military, like in the Navy,
Yeah.
for like, and I'd have like a whole 3 months of stuff. I'd have to put it all on the schedule, and I was like, I'm just gonna, what do I have, and just throw
What
it.
the heck is a Gantt? Chart.
A
I don't
Gantt
know. I don't
a
know what a
Gantt
Gantt chart
chart.
is. I had to go look that up, how to figure out what that is, how to figure out.
Oh,
I don't know all these Korean meals. I don't know what all these meals are, so I had to kind of research them a little bit. Like I try to like when I get into a problem, I try to go all the way and like learn it. And part of
yeah.
school is incredibly frustrating for me because I like to get deep into things because in my experience, like going wide doesn't solve shit. It doesn't help. All it does
Hmm.
is like just puts more on my plate. I'd rather get niche with something, like get in there and become an authority figure on it. And school just makes that almost impossible to do. I feel like I'm just being pulled here, pulled here, pulled here, pulled here. So we've got stuff in school that doesn't pay me, right? And
Right.
then, but there's skills that can be used. But how do I develop the habits of thinking like this? The scientific method on top of first principles, on top of, XYZ that we're learning in class. And even, Dr. Cho said that his first lecture is like, this is not enough time. The idea that they're trying to get us through all this information in 7.5 weeks is kind of ridiculous. But for you and me, just so we know, like there's nothing that says we can't go back and go revisit a problem or revisit that thing. I think sometimes in school we get in this habit of moving on before we actually
Yeah.
get it down. So my
Yeah, it's true.
encouragement for myself and for you, I'm just going to share it and be vulnerable, is to like if you don't know it, like you either know it or you don't, right? And if
Hmm.
you don't know it in the majority of your classes, you not knowing it, but you do it and you still get an A, did you really
Did you
what
learn
was
anything?
what was the point of that, right?
Yeah, what was the point?
So I always try to pick like one or two things at least per class that I just like hold on to. I took Cho's class, and I remember Victor and I talked about how writing can be more effective for both of us, so that we can put it in our arsenal and go out and be a team player or do other things and whatever. If I'm going to go in my poop business, I'm going to have employees at some point. We're going to have to communicate written and video and whatever else we need to do. Like what is the best communication method to solve these problems, right? But I just want to say and be respectful of your time. You can cut out whenever you want, but I enjoy a little time like this because in all my classes, people just do the bare minimum to satisfy the thing and then they're on. There's no real connections happening at school. And I was like, why am I paying $2,100 a course like to do this? Like if it's online, nobody says anything after the class. I haven't made one contact in going here for a whole semester that stays in contact. That's unreal for me. When I went to college, I had like by now I would have like 10 people in my phone that I'd be like, what are you doing tonight? We go talk about the issues of the day and like relate the material to whatever while we're working, while we're having our lives. And that's just missing. I don't know what your experience is, but it's frustrating.
Um, yeah, no, I haven't had any like long contact. No, there's a TM 250 class. There's more TIM majors in that one. So like we've definitely like made contact with like in LinkedIn and stuff and whatnot to do that. So I mean, yeah, I think that's key for us to do that. I mean, when we meet on Zoom and we talk actually face to face, there's no reason why not to maintain some kind of connectivity because you never know like what part of the country you'll be in or that's networking. That is,
Right. There's
that's straight up
That's what I'm
networking.
here is to connect with people like you. This is the reason I came to school. I mean, it's great if I have access to the instructors but for the most part, our lives are run by having relationships with people. Any job that you're going to do, you're going to sell them a service or a product or both. So, like we need to be
Yeah.
established in what's our network. Because if I say, Victor, I think you should go check out Hit Record. Have you heard of that?
No.
John Levitt that was in Third Rock from the Sun. He grew up and he's an actor. But I want to encourage you to go look up Hit Record after we get off and see if you want to be a part of that community of creators, of people that do kind of what you're talking about, and see some of the wild stuff that they've done where people have collaborated and made some really special music. They've done some special product. You might be able to take some of your music and illustrate somebody's story. Like it's
Yeah.
wild. So Hit
Yeah.
Record. I'm gonna leave you with that one, and
Okay.
and
Yeah.
an,
Thanks.
and an invitation to stay in touch beyond the class.
All right.
All right,
Yeah.
my man.
Thanks, Dimitri. I'll see you. Just let me know if
I'll
you
get
need
this
anything.
recorded and on the YouTube and then put it into the class. I'll take care of it. I got you.
Thank you so much.
You bet. All right, take care.
All right. You too.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.